From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening of evenings LALATE with your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. Vladimir Putin and Russian forces have invaded Ukraine. You're looking at stock footage of Ukraine, not live footage today. The latest details is that the Build Back Better Act will still get done. This for stimulus 1, 2, and 3, and 4.0 are still going to a vote despite what's happening in Ukraine right now. In today's recording, we're going to go over a refocusing of where we are about your money and how the great news coming in overnight is that the White House has acted quickly and responsibly to get new economic relief out to you, brand new, in spite of what's happened in Ukraine. It's happening tonight, and I have the latest details. Plus, we'll be going back to CR for Stimulus 1.0 that has a vote in just a few days. But someone's showing up with their hand out trying to grab some of your money. Oh, do they dare do that? What do they want the money for? It's not lobster shorts, but it's almost as bad. And we have the latest details in tonight's video. Then we'll go over to CR for Stimulus 2, 3, and 4.0. Build Back Better, that is still building and getting better. Then we'll be looking at SS 300, the opportunity for Joe Biden to get millions of dollars to people's wallets right now as inflationary concerns are growing. We're 24 hours away from a major inflationary number that will impact what the Federal Reserve is going to do in that March meeting. And I'm going to show you how we're going. But we have a lot to go over tonight as a new signal across the board is happening. This is a financial news channel, and we're staying with financial news 24/7, 7 days a week. As Ukraine and Russia unfolds, I will cover it to the extent it impacts your wallet. But this is not a war channel and not a war correspondent channel. I'll have more about this after the opening credits, but I'm excited you're here because there is brand new details tonight about new efforts by the White House to release the inflationary pressures upon you. It's great news, it's breaking, and then I have the latest on all these incredible checks, these adult automatic stimulus checks and more, as we go into a big, bold, beautiful evenings LA, and the excitement starts right here, right now, as Evenings LA gets underway direct from Santa Monica, California, with the breaking news from the East, the West, Eastern Europe, and what you need to know about your money tonight. The latest details starting right here from Santa Monica, California on Evenings. Hey, good evening, everybody. What a night it is. The incredible details across the board is that Vladimir Putin has invaded with Russian troops Ukraine. You're looking at stock footage, not live footage, of the beautiful landscape of Ukraine. But tonight, I'm going to go a little bit off book and give you an idea of where this channel is going over the next few days, next few weeks, and potentially next few months, as the Russia-Ukraine situation is far from over. Here's what you need to know going into tonight's recording of Evenings LA. This is a financial news channel, and as a financial news channel, my job is to report the impact of financial news on your wallet. The number one financial news focus channel focusing on stocks and bonds, the number two focusing on the Federal Reserve, but me focusing more on your wallet. This is not a war correspondent channel, so I will not be covering every movement of U.S. and Russian troops over the next few weeks. What I will be covering is every time it impacts your wallet. And you're going to see it in tonight's recording. That's number one. Number two, also what I want to say to you very clearly is that there are some U.S. broadcasters, channels that are not financial news channels, that will cover the war and will cover correspondence on decks with explosions because it brings them ratings. Do not think that Build Back Better Act is not happening because they're not covering it. They're covering that because that brings them ratings. Number three, for the first time ever tonight, I'm going to only say one really time today, and that's it, I'm going to move on, is that this channel will not, repeat, not allow commentary along the lines of Laura Ingraham or Tucker Carlson in the comments. You saw some of their horrific comments said by those two anchors on Fox News overnight about Vladimir Putin. I will not allow those type of comments on this channel. So if you bring them, you will be banned. If you do any type of glorification, you'll be banned. And if you say anything like, well, Build Back Better Act or Forced Stimulus Recon is not happening because of Ukraine or Russia, you will also be removed from the channel. It's simply untrue. And with that tonight, we're going to go right into Build Back Better. That is the Forced Stimulus Recon. That will become a law. We're going to go over all those incredible sums of checks. Then we go over CR for Stimulus 1, 2, 3, and 4.0. I have brand new breaking news about that tonight. We'll be looking at SS 300 heading to SS 400. I have a lot of breaking news as the Federal Reserve has brand new data coming in 24 hours, and the Federal Reserve about to act early next week. And then the White House, really great news, not one, but two, that will relieve financial pressure on you and your wallet. It came out just minutes ago. It's brand new tonight, folks, but we're going to start first with Build Back Better. The Forced Stimulus Recon that has 3 clusters of checks and 3 add-ons that amount to at least $15,000 of checks. And here we go. First cluster got in there, hazard pay, 1 more year of that in the earned income tax credit for my essential workers, $4,000 of elder care, got it in there, $4,000 of care for young children. Then they got in there the Pell Grant, $550 checks for my college students, and the $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. Wow. They got in there 3 clusters of checks, but also 3 add-ons. The first add-on comes from Maxine Waters here in Southern California. It is a great item, folks, and you love it. This is money for the purchase of your first home, and she got this incredible sums of money in there. How much? A little bit less than $25,000 given from the federal government to the seller in your name at the time of close of escrow. Wow. And it's huge. It's one of the many $60,000 of checks in Build Back Better Act that is going to the finish line. Let's go to the second cluster of checks. Home repairs. This is to weatherize your home every time the neighbors move in and they're wearing a lobster shorts in the front yard. Do they dare? And then paid leave every time you have to take off work because your boss showed up at work wearing a lobster shorts. Oh, it's spreading the nation. What's going on here? How much is that paid leave? It's a lot of money, folks. It is $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. $800 a week if you make $35,000 or more per year. $400 a week if you make $15,000 or more per year. How many weeks? 4 to 6 weeks per year. So yeah, it's a lot of money, $46,000. And boy, W-2 1099. If you don't want work, but your son or daughter does work, they're going to get the check for the household every time they have to take off from work to take you to the doctor's office. It's huge and it's incredible, great news. That is the hazard. That is the paid leave provision in there. Now, there is also a second add-on, and that's the one that starts with the number 2. Do you remember the number? I bet you do. Jump in the live chat and write that number right now. What is that number? It is, someone wrote it. It's $250 billion of free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Wow. Free home health care. Can you imagine it's not covered in some benefits? Now it's in there via Bob Casey, a campaign promise from Joe Biden. Free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Let's go to the third cluster checks where we find it true deliciousness. Free internet for all. That's available right now in some parts of the country. Learn about from the volunteers on the community page. They got in there checks for farmers, checks for free school meals for all checks. And then they got in there money for the independent contractors. The seniors got in there 2 checks on the house, which are hearing and the Medicaid gap fix. More about that later. Then the dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare come on the house side, which is par for the course when we're talking about adding checks on the Senate side. I think I inverted that just right then, but you know what I mean. The Senate just vowed to add lots of checks to this recon, and what is that 3-letter addition they want to add in there? Jump in the live chat right now. I think I know what it is. And there, someone already wrote it. It's MSC. MSC is an add-on that the Senate just vowed to add to this recon, the third add-on. And what is MSC? It's not monthly sugar-free chocolate cake recipes. It's just about as deliciousness. It is that monthly stimulus check from IRS. Who gets it? The legislators represent that this adult automatic IRS stimulus check would be delivered to the same persons that got third stimulus checks. So let's go over that right now. Single individuals, $75,000 less annual income, you get it. Married couple, 150,000 less, you get it, double it. Family 4, you get it, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security or railroad benefits, you get it as well. Adult dependents also get it. A family of 4, you get it, quadruple it. It's not income. It's not taxable. It's offered nationwide, not state by state. It's not California only. This is not a California channel, even though you see some nice surf in the channel. And as the one viewer said, my fiance says you got to pay it back. No, but I think you need to return the engagement ring. You haven't selected well, honey. It's this engagement is just not starting well. Return the engagement ring, and the encounter group, as we have been called, will hook you up with someone who knows your stimulus better. How much is this? $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for up to 6 months. Now, what are we doing on this channel? Stay to the very end, because I'm going to show you how you can get big checks right today. Thousands of checks. Viewers are getting $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 across the land. And we ain't tracking checks on this channel, folks. We ain't donut girl or donut guy, even though, you know, those donuts do look delicious. We are cashing checks. And stay with me, because I'm going to show you how you can cash checks right today. Later in this video, stay to the very end. So when would they add these MSCs into this recon? Let's go over those details of that as we bring ourselves into the CR for stimulus part of this recording, and it starts right now. The senators would add these checks into the recon in the Senate subcommittee. Then they add everything else they want to add to the recon, send it to a Senate bill, send it to a Senate floor vote, and then a 2-day vote-a-rama. Done. But that hasn't happened. And so 4 weeks ago on this channel, I brought back CR for Stimulus 1.0. It birthed now 2, 3, and 4.0, and a big update tonight about all 4 of them. The great news is that CR for Stimulus makes sense, and it made history on this channel in 2020. What is the concept? It's very simple. We basically say we support the Build Back Better Act, the Forced Social Recon. It will become a law, but we need other pieces of economic legislation to go out faster and sooner. And what is CR for Stimulus? Where did it start from, and how does it work? Let's go over all the details of it starting right now. CR for Stimulus was my creation in early 2020 as we had looked at second stimulus. Second stimulus came after first stimulus. We had our first stimulus. We used it up. We needed more money. We were told that there was a second stimulus package in the work. Package meaning it was thousands of pages in legislation, and that it was partisan with no inherent deadline. Negotiators at the time were Nancy Pelosi out of San Francisco on behalf of the Democrats, Steve Mnuchin, then Treasury Secretary, on behalf of the Republicans. Negotiations started in the spring, no deal. Summer, no deal. Fall, no deal. Winter, no deal. By December, I said, I can't deal with this. I got to come up with a solution. And I found the solution, a continuing resolution. What is a continuing resolution? It's a small bill, just a few hundred pages in length, not a package. Has an inherent deadline, just a few days out, a few weeks, maybe a month, not several months. Has bipartisan support and gets done. At the time, the deadline was December 2020, and we made the effort, we made the push. I said on air, here was my creation, December 2020. I said, we've been looking at the second stimulus for months, folks. 11 months and no deal. What if we use something else? A CR for Stimulus, if you're in the live chat right now, write the hashtag campaign, works upon the following concept. Insert a stimulus check in this continuing resolution, which then had a deadline in December 2020, and get it out the door. We made history. The $600 stimulus check was my creation. It was inserted into this continuing resolution. We had a lot of criticism when I first made the recording because it didn't belong in there. We knew it didn't belong in there, but it stayed in there. Got it in there. And the continuing resolution became law. And you made history as well as the Purple Power community. What also happened thereafter, second stimulus fell apart. Never had a bill, never had a vote, never happened. So what is the latest updates on CR for Stimulus 1, 2, 3, and 4.0 tonight? A lot of breaking details on each of them right tonight. First, CR for Stimulus 1.0 is looking really well, as $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds have been included in the continuing resolution. That's a lot, and I'm going to show you why this is great news tonight. But I'm also going to tell you how the White House and certain congressional leaders that have had your back are under pressure to start trying to spend this money on other people. It's not the airlines. It's someone almost as worse. Yeah, who's coming with their hand out? It's not Donut Guy or Donut Guy. Who's coming with their hand out saying, oh, discretionary funds, discretion them on me. Yeah, I have the latest details and the reaction to that on CR for Stimulus 1.0 after the commercial break. Then we'll be looking at 2 and 3.0. We'll be looking at the Russian sanctions bill 4.0. Then SS 200, 300, 400. I have a lot of breaking news on that tonight, folks. Great news, as we have not one, but two moves by the White House to really help alleviate inflationary pressures for you right away this week. Then we'll be looking at tomorrow and next week. New economic data comes in on Friday, and then the Federal Reserve will respond to it next week. Oh boy, folks, that is the first of 5 Fed meetings this year and those interest rate spikes. We have all that incredible details. Then we'll be looking back at a Build Back Better Act and the big checks, and finally, my commentary in the final minutes of this video. We have that and more as we go into the big second half. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as Evenings LA continues.
At 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the news continues tonight as the Build Back Better Act will pass despite the events of Ukraine and Russia. CR for Stimulus 1.0 is heading to the finish line within just days from now. But what's the latest update on CR for Stimulus 2 and 3.0? And what about 4.0, the Russian sanctions bill based upon the events of what's happening in Ukraine? I have all these incredible details, plus the SS 200, 300, and 400. Great news tonight. It's brand new breaking news you have never heard before, and it's starting tonight across this land. I have all the details from Santa Monica, California, all the way over to Ukraine. Those details and more as we go into a big second half. But first, I need your assistance. I need to go into this video and hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video and become a member. You're watching LA, the #3 most watched financial news channel in America, broadcast, cable, and internet. Bring us to number 2. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, via the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system. As we go into a big tonight recording of the second half, a lot to know about what's going on in Ukraine. But first, let me start right here with CR for Stimulus 1.0. CR for Stimulus 1.0, which debuted back on this channel 3-4 weeks ago, is heading to the finish line. CR for Stimulus has $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds in there. Bipartisan support, Republicans, Democrats, House, and Senate, to spend on you. The discretionary funds are at the discretion of Congress. I've been selling the importance of advocating to make sure those discretionary funds are spent on you. And tonight, do they dare? Yeah, do they dare? Some people are coming with their hands out trying to take your money. Oh, no way, not on my watch. So I got to tell you good and bad. So here we go. Ironically, one of the people I told you to advocate to is watching your back on this one. Senator Appropriations Chair Patrick Leahy, remember I said Leahy and Schumer, the ones to advocate to, says, I'm not eager to add anything to this, so don't try to take the money. It's taken several months of negotiations to get where we are, and I'm very reluctant to reopen anything else. So who's trying to take the money? First, the White House? Oh, Lord, really? Yes, the White House is trying to take some of the money and spend it on COVID. Oh, come on already. And these numbers are not small, folks. They're trying to spend an additional $18 billion on treatment vaccines, $5 billion for testing. It just goes on and on. They already have gotten $6.5 trillion from the Congress for COVID issues since we started. And I'm just talking about testing and vaccines. I'm not talking about, economic COVID issues. The good news is that this is not working at the moment. No one is willing to roll over and give this money to the White House. And it comes from both Democrats and Republicans. Roger Marshall, a Republican of Kansas, says most people think we've borrowed enough money from our grandchildren. Here comes some more comments in there. We have make sure that we're talking to the administration right now about the specific needs. But House Republicans also appear uninterested. Kathy McMorris Rogers of Washington, who's on the Energy and Service Committee, says we're not going to keep on spending money without oversight. So that was the first one. If there could be an even more hilarious one than that one. Yeah, if you've been with me for a while, there's one group I don't like. More so than the airlines. The restaurants, I can't say with a straight face. The restaurants are trying to come with their handouts. Oh, I've been watching LA. There's free money. There's $1.5 trillion. And can you send us some of that money? We'll put it on a slide of sliders. Oh, my goodness. It's like they watch me and they say, money? Money? I'll give me some. So the restaurant union is now lobbying Congress to try to get some of your $1.5 trillion to be given to them. I'm not making this up, folks. Needless to say, they're not rolling over, but I got to tell you that they're trying to take your money. So that's why it's important to advocate. Princess on Twitter is doing a great job with her beautiful emojis. She's tagging the elected officials saying, hey, spend the money on us. $1.5 trillion. It's huge. It's a lot. It's more than one stimulus check. It's discretionary. It's been approved during the negotiations. Republicans and Democrats spend the money on us. Don't mess this one up, folks. Don't mess this one up, Senators. Spend the money on us. Casey Coons, Warren, Wyden, Sanders, and Schumer. You want to keep your Senate seats, Democrats? You better spend the money on us. You want to pick up your Senate seats, Democrats? Spend the money on us. Don't spend the money on COVID testing and spend the money on restaurants or Broadway. Yeah, that ain't going to work anymore. Millions of Americans are in need of inflationary assistance, and that is what CR for Stimulus 1.0 is. That inherent deadline is now early March. Now let's go to CR for Stimulus 2 and 3.0. This is pieces of legislation, again, that would go before stimulus, Build Back Better. And the first one passed in the House, now sent to the Senate. The senators vowed to merge it with their version. The great news is senators are Republicans. Todd Young, merging it with the House, Democrats. Why such an element of bipartisanship? Because the Senate Republicans and Democrats understand the way to win the midterm elections is to give financial assistance to people hurting right now. They're hurting because of inflation. 2020, we were hurting because of COVID. Now we're hurting because of inflation. And you need economic assistance. And not giving you the assistance won't keep their seats. And promising to do something which they don't do ain't going to work either. They need to do it right now. Let's go to CR for Stimulus 4.0, the Russian sanctions bill. Now, this one's a little flustery, a little confusing, because this is the one done by the Senate. It's different than the one done by the President. The President kept on announcing lots of new sanctions today and sanctions there. This is the Russian sanctions one from the Senate. The Senate has had this with Republican and Democrat support for days, and I'm not particularly clear why it hasn't gotten done. Now, let's go over to SS 300. That has some really great breaking news tonight, and I'm very excited for you. First, I want to explain what SS 200, 300, 400 is. Then I want to go over the breaking news, which is brand new. It just came in a few minutes ago. And then I want to go over to how SS 200, 300, 400 works right now. SS 200. What is it? It started in Liz Warren's mind, and then in her campaign promises for running for president in 2020, January 2020. She promised an additional $200 a month on top of your existing benefits if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, or anything like that. She wanted to remove the asset cap, remove the marriage penalty, the asset cap, the income cap, which all require act of Congress. She thereafter withdrew her run for president, and Joe Biden says, I like Liz's policies. I'm going to adopt them as my own. He did. He ran them on his platform. He won the general election, and then on his own transition page, joebiden.com, transitioning from private citizen to president, he said, I'm still going to do it. It's an urgent situation. Well, he didn't do it. Democrats talked about it all last year. I talked about it all last year. Doing it under this stimulus, an additional piece of legislation that will start in December. Well, guess what? That hadn't started either. So with 2 weeks ago, I brought back on this channel the opportunity to do SS200, SS300, SS400. The concept, let me go over with you simply, is the following. Remove COLA, use inflation immediately. That would give you an additional $200 a month right today if you're on benefits. And then in January 2022, excuse me, 2023, forgetting what year we're in, next year, you go up another $100. That would be SS 300. And inflation stays at like 1-2% the year after that, you go up another $40, $50, $60. So that'd be about SS 400 in 2 years from there. This is very simple. Now let's go over the breaking news about that right tonight. And this is really great news. The White House understands that the situation in Ukraine is causing pressure on your wallet. When I started covering Ukraine and Russia back in October of last year, I said the number one financial news story of 2022 will be Russia-Ukraine, whether it's rumor or fact, whether it happens or doesn't happen, it's going to impact the financial markets dramatically. Made that recording all the way since Halloween. Well, the good news is that the Federal Reserve is going to have its impact on it next week. The White House moved quickly today. First, great news number one. The White House, in a new statement minutes ago, said that the White House will not allow price gouging by U.S. petroleum manufacturers price gouging you at the pump. Let's go over what's going on. Ukraine and Russia are big sources of petroleum, gasoline, for the world by export. Now, the new sanctions in place from the White House prevents Russia from making money on their petroleum. So there's less barrels of gasoline from Russia in the supply chain now. If there's less gasoline, then prices may go up. There's less gasoline from Ukraine as well, so prices may go up. The White House does not, and will criminally prosecute U.S.-based companies that see the opportunity to then raise prices for gasoline because they have less to compete with Russia. The comments that came in, great news from the White House minutes ago, says my administration is using every tool at our disposal to protect American businesses and consumers from rising prices at the pump. Defending freedom will have costs for us as well. But we're executing a plan in coordination with major oil-producing consumers and toward a collective investment in stabilizing prices. These will be blunt gas prices. So, as to manufacturers of gasoline in the United States, they will not be sticking it to at the pump. The White House will criminally prosecute them. Good. All right, it gets better than that. I've featured this on this channel for months, and unfortunately, White House has only done this once, and everyone said, why only once? Well, the good news is finally the second time is happening today, or this week. It's called releasing oil from the strategic reserves, the Federal Reserves. What's going on? The federal government owns extra barrels of gasoline. It keeps them in storage. The reason it owns extra storage of gasoline barrels, gasoline for your car, they call it barrels, they keep them in barrels, is because it needs to sometimes release it and make it available for the consumer to bring down the price. Remember, the more barrels released, the more prices go down. Okay, Russia's gone for providing oil. Prices may go up. Ukraine is gone, so prices may go up. So what is the U.S. going to do? The president, in new statements minutes ago, says, I'm releasing some more gasoline that is in reserve. Now, I want you to understand that this is a very interesting concept. When they release the oil, the gasoline, don't think the U.S. is going to run out of gasoline. They buy it back when it gets cheaper again. So don't think that they're going to, we only got 2 more barrels back there, Chuck. Did you check in the back? Yeah, we only got 2 more, Mr. President, and that one's safe for the wedding. So no. They buy it back, so don't worry. There's no shortage of the gasoline. So let's go over the numbers, because this is where I want you to focus on this, because this is big. This is great news. This is breaking tonight. Currently, the price of Brent crude, that's Brent. Have you met him? He's very crude. The price of Brent and his crude is $100 a barrel. That's not something you pay. It's the barrel of the gasoline and the storage. It's currently $100. The new analysts coming in the report tonight say that this economy can support about $100 for 6 months right now. And after that, it may not be sufficient. So what do we do? How do we address this situation? Well, let's go over the details right now.